Hello, welcome to Leadership Advancement Mentorship Podcast. With me today is a very good friend and a fellow colleague in the Maxwell Leadership. Name is Maurine Kwende, and Maurine will be telling us more about herself, as we start even this podcast. This is the podcast that really help people to be aware of their leadership potential so that they can be inspired to do the work of development and also embrace the place of mentorship so that their leadership gift can find full expression, to the betterment of humanity. So my name is Dr. Michael KOKU. I'd like to welcome you. And also I'd like to welcome my able guest to the podcast, Maurine. Maurine, can you kindly introduce yourself, please?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. And when I think about your podcast, going out there to really inspire people, that's what we do. And I just commend you for that. You're making big strides and thinking about significance. And this podcast really reminds me of what we want to be remembered for. So thank you for paying your own price towards significance. So while I'm here, my name again is Maurine Kwende. I do own my own business. It's called EMK Learning Solutions, where I work with individuals, organizations, and government agencies in the areas of leadership, coaching, training and development, entrepreneurship, personal growth. And I also own my own academy for aspiring leaders, first-time managers who really are thinking about, taking on the role of leadership. And I'm there, helping them to inspire them and giving them the tools to make them have a solid foundation to become leaders that others want to follow. So I just want to say thank you so much for having me. And in any way I can just pour into you this morning, it's totally my pleasure.
Wow, you're welcome, Maurine. Now, in the leadership and mentorship, in the leadership advancement mentorship podcast, our focus is leadership development and also the place of mentorship. And because a lot of people, they don't really understand that you can deliver what you've not developed. So we can compromise development as leaders. Someone said, when we stop learning and growing, we just keep existing and we are not living. That's Joyce Meyer. And it's so important for leaders to pay the price of development. It's a daily price. It's a daily price. In fact, one recent insight that just came to me on this area of development is by John Maxwell. John Maxwell really bring this home. And he shared something about the place of development on a daily basis. He said, any day that passes without personal growth is an opportunity lost to improve yourself and to enlarge others. Any day that passes without personal growth is an opportunity lost to improve yourself and to enlarge others. And that's very, very important. It's not about improving ourselves. It's not about enlarging others. So that means we cannot enlarge others if we don't develop ourselves. So my question for you, Maurine, is at what point in your life did you become aware of your leadership potential? At what point?
I would say many years ago, but I want to highlight a key point that you raised here, which is part of the reasons why I have this podcast about mentorship, right? So I've always identified my own leadership capabilities, but I had a role as a manager where I was, leading 12 people. And when I think about Maxwell's 5 levels of leadership, I was just, on level 1, right? I was just telling people what to do. And honestly, that's not leadership. And, like Joyce Meyer's, is it Joyce Meyer? Maya Angelou, who says that when we know better, we do better. So at that time, that's like probably maybe 20 years ago, that's how I embraced leadership, and I was telling these people what to do because I didn't know better. But then many years down the line, I came to a position where I was like, oh wow, I was really leading the wrong way. And I've been blessed to have many great mentors in my life. So when I had a clear picture of what leadership represents, it makes me think of a mentor that I actually have in my life right now, that I can say that was probably like 17 years ago when I ran into her. Before we knew it, she became my mentor, and she didn't really tell me about mentorship. She didn't tell me about mentorship or leadership. She showed me, because leadership is visual,
Mm.
so I was able to visualize what leadership really was.
Mm.
And with her help as a mentor, honestly, the skills I had in front of my eyes when I started my leadership journey, they just fell off. I was like,
Mm.
wow, this is
Mm.
just really like an epiphany. And since then, I learned a lot and I made conscious effort, because one of the laws of John Maxwell is a law of awareness that says
Yeah.
that growth doesn't just happen. A
Yeah.
leadership, it just doesn't happen. Many people feel that, oh, you're a born leader and all of that. Well, it's just like some people can be born athletic, right? They have like muscles and everything, but you still have to grow those muscles. You
Yeah.
still have to enhance them. You still have to develop them each time. So
Yeah.
when I think about my own awareness in terms of leadership, I can go back to like 17 years when I met this mentor. To me, that's when I got a clear picture of what leadership was. But if you had asked me when did I become um, an intentional leader, I would tell you again, it didn't happen overnight. It's just been
Mm.
work in progress. Making progress and taking strides, on day by day. As long as you're intentional, it's not like you're having a pill that you can take, or have headache
Mm.
and you take Tylenol and you suddenly feel better. No, you got to be able to work on yourself every day. You got 24 hours in a day. How much of the 24 hours in your day are you focusing on your personal growth? Because you can
Wow.
only give what you have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I
And
would
I
say.
like what you
Yeah.
said about working on yourself every day. That takes us to the next question. What are the things, having become aware of your potential as a leader, what are the things that you do every day to develop yourself? Because we're talking about, this is Leadership Advancement Mentorship Podcast. We
Right.
put more emphasis on advancement and mentorship in the place of leadership. So what are the things that you do daily? What are your daily habits, that helps your leadership advancement? Can you share that with us? Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about habits, it's like you're reading my mind or something, because I'm reading a very good book by James Clear called Atomic Habits. And
Hmm.
because I believe that our habits, they really contribute a lot to our own self leadership. So if you've not read about read this book, I encourage you to just go get it from your Amazon. I don't have any business with him, but I'm just saying it's a very good book. So
Yeah.
in terms of my own personal growth, first off, I had to identify what are some of the gaps when I go back, when I wasn't really being an intentional leader. What are some of the things that held me back, that now I have that intentionality when I'm thinking about those things. So for example, the gap that you're thinking the timing is not right, right? So you want to start a business and you say, oh, the timing is not right. This is one area that many women struggle with, right? Because women always prioritize other people first, their children, their spouses, and saying, well, I'm going to improve my own leadership abilities when I've done this for other people. So those are some things that I had to make a conscious effort and say, I got to stop procrastination. I got to put myself first, put my leadership abilities first, because if I want to be perceived as a leader visually, I should be able to invest in myself. So being able to identify the gaps that were holding me back, first of the timing gap, and also the fear of failure gap was another thing that held me back. Like sometimes many people think, you're not going to do this, you're not going to excel at it. But when we think about the fact that failure is actually what we need to grow, right? There is no way you can grow without experiencing failure. It's not going to happen. So being mindful and being intentional that even if I fail, what are
Hmm.
some things that I'm going to learn from that experience going forward? Many
Wow.
times, many people go to movies and they say, oh, they watch this great movie and they say it's a masterpiece. they don't even realize that to produce that movie, there were
Yeah.
so many failed attempts.
Yeah.
So they went back, they repeated their lines, to a point where they were able to have that picture. So those are some of the things that I had to be intentional, and also understanding that coming from a perfectionist background, I had to understand that there's no such thing as perfection. As long as there's progress, as long as I'm making progress every day, those are some things that you want to think about as a leader. What are some gaps that are holding you back? Then another thing that I was able to identify were in my core fears, right? Because another thing that I want to think about is what are some of the fears that you have? Many times people think, oh, I can't do this because people are going to judge me. How they're going to perceive me doing this or doing that. If I had the time, I'll tell you a story about my, public speaking when I was in church, how I was so, afraid to speak on the stage because I was afraid that what would people think, but I had to go through failure. I had to go through those things to understand that it
That's
doesn't really
awesome.
matter what people think anyway.
Yeah.
And then the fear of rejection, what are some of the things that you're thinking, people are going to reject. They're going to reject you anyway, but the people that are really there for you will not reject you. So that was just to tell you it's not the right.
That's good.
And then to wrap it up is habits, right? Are you taking time to look at your habits? I had to really look at my habits. What am I doing every day? I have to make my own to-do list every day, the day before, because once you set the stage ahead of time, chances are you're going to fail. So what can I do today towards my tomorrow? I had to work on my schedule, plan things in advance, even simple things as even preparing your closet, preparing the things you're gonna eat before before the day of, like even when it comes to weight loss, right? Because seeing is believing. You got to be able to do things that visually, they can reflect what you want to see. If you're wanting to lose weight and you have a lot of junk food around, how are you conditioning your environment? So I had to be intentional about my habits when it comes to how I plan my day, when it comes to my own future goals, because goals and habits go together. You can be having all these goals. You're planning to lose 20 pounds. You don't have good habits. When you lose the 20 pounds, you're gonna get them back. So I had to give conscious effort to be sure that my habits were in line with my goals. And
thank you so much.
My dreams.
Thank you so much. We know you have a lot to share because of the time that we have. I know you're such a loaded barrel. And one thing I want to let people know, there are 5 things leaders should do every day. And I give it an acronym, LARPS. Every day we need to learn something new. And every day we need to be applying what we are learning. That's the A. And every day we need to reflect. Reflection is an evaluation process. And we ask 3 questions to help our reflection. What went right today? What went wrong today? And what can we do differently? And every day we have to prioritize. Prioritization is very, very important. You can be a person of authority without becoming a person of priority. Prioritization is writing everything on your list for the day and then arranging it in order of importance. The last thing we have to do every day, we have to share. You see, when you share, and you're not only showing that you care, sharing helps you to retain what you're learning, because we're learning a lot. So sharing is an opportunity for you to take what you are learning from cerebral to spinal, that it becomes an hands-on. So you are helping people when you share, but you are actually helping yourself better because you retain more.
Absolutely. I definitely agree, because even when it comes to my academy, where I'm helping aspiring leaders and first-time managers, right, to be able to give these people the tools, I have to be able to build my own capacity to do that. So someone from from the front will say, oh, she's just helping this group of people. I need to grow myself first, to be able to provide this. So that's good. Totally on point. I agree.
So next question quickly, and for the time that we have, is who are the leaders that you look up to, the people that have inspired your leadership advancement?
There's so many. One person that,
and just give us 2 of them.
I'll talk about him. I would just talk about John Maxwell, right? He's the number 1 leadership expert. he's inspired me, and he continues to inspire me every day. Why? Because he doesn't just give you what it's about, he lives it. I've seen him even tie his leadership abilities to his values, and I see that every day. So that really has helped me to see someone who's modeling it, not just talking it, but just really modeling the work. So that's one person. And another person that has inspired me also is Mother Teresa, in the sense of giving back, like in terms of significance. What do we want to be remembered for, right? How are we paying the price to the extent that what we live is bigger than us? So when we think of Mother Teresa, how she did help, fight poverty and making a lot in the community, I would like to be inspired to the extent that I want to be able to be remembered for some of the great things that we can add value to the lives of others.
Yeah. Thank you for naming these two great leaders, John Maxwell and Mother Teresa. The next question is, can you share with the audience the place of mentorship in the quest for leadership advancement?
The place for mentorship, I'll go to John Maxwell, and I also have my own mentorship program through my academy where I mentor others. So if someone is looking for a mentor, by all means, you can join me. But I would always go to John Maxwell. But I'm a Christian, so for me, my number one reference point is the Bible.
Yeah, but thanks for sharing that. What I want you to talk about is what is the role of mentorship. I want you to emphasize the significance, the importance of mentorship because some people just thought that they don't need a mentor, they can get access all the information there. I mean, we are in the days in which you can access any information that you are from any part of the world. But I believe the place of mentorship is they help you to interpret what you're learning. The place of mentorship is interpretation, because you can learn a lot, but when you don't have a mentor to put things in the right perspective and to visualize things, you can take a lot of things for granted. So what can you say about the place of mentorship? That's actually the last question. Yeah.
Okay, so when we think about, thank you for clarifying with that question. When we think about mentorship, even last month was National Mentorship Month. And so when we think about mentorship, it's a relationship, right? It's a relationship between a mentor and a mentee. And usually the mentor brings in so many years of experience that is now, bringing it to add value to the mentee, right? So there's a relationship, right? And so in a mentor-mentee relationship, then the person who is being mentored receives from the mentor, and there is some structure, right? The mentor should be one person that is a cheerleader and wants to see the mentee grow. You're passionate about seeing their lives being transformed. And so as a mentor, you're committed to making sure that if you're having a mentor, a relationship maybe for a year or 2 years, sometimes some people put a time frame to it, that you're wanting to commit on a weekly goals or whatever, a weekly program with this person, making sure that you know what their goals are, helping them to gain clarity, and just working with them, committing to them, such that you're going to see how they succeed. And there are times when they will fall, and there are times when they wouldn't even see the way forward, because a great mentor actually sees what's in you more than you see it yourself. So there would be that person to say, this is what I see, what's going on, how can we fix this so you can really get to where you want it to go. So I would really encourage anyone who's not had a great mentor, make sure that there is a good match, because sometimes the person might not be a good mentor for you. Make sure that there's a good match. And when you can feel it, when there's a good relationship, just go ahead and do it. Mentorship, I am, very successful in my business, in my career, in terms of education, in terms of so many things, because of the great mentors I have. Even my parents are mentors. That's how I even learned about entrepreneurship. We all need a mentor. So
that's good.
So go find one. Yeah,
that's good. Thank you so much. I'd like to wrap up today's podcast with this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, because I learn every day. I just got this morning. It said, "Our chief want is someone who will inspire us to be what we know we could be." Our chief want is someone who will inspire us to be what we could be. And I want to close on this note. by letting everyone knows that you need a mentor in your life. Mentors deliver us from tormentors of life, and they can show you the way. They knows the way. And as Maurine has rightly said, you need to do a value match. Don't just get anybody for your mentor. Make sure that your values are very, very, very are matching. That will really help you to be what you could be in the course of the mentorship. So this is a very good time to say thank you to Maurine. Maurine, thank you so much for coming to the Leadership Advancement Mentorship Podcast. I believe when we call on you again, you will show up, because you have so much thing that we couldn't even glean from you today. Yeah. So how can people find you? How can people find you? Let's say people want to connect with you. What would be a good way for people to connect with Maurine?
Well, they can find me on LinkedIn, Maurine Kwende. You can also shoot me an email if you would like, and that would be info@emklearningsolutions.com, info@emklearningsolutions.com, or you can go to my website, emklearningsolutions.com, or the Dream Weekend Body Academy. You can find me also on Facebook. I have a private community where I help people out and also mentor them. So yeah, find me. Let's have a chat.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And so this